Hey there, my name's Jesse, and you're listening to the Deep Lore Boys podcast.
Andy the Goose, someone killed him.
I'm sticking it out. I'm not falling for that crap.
Kentucky Fried Chicken should just buy Kentucky, actually.
The Taco Liberty Bell.
So this was a listener-requested topic, the Taco Liberty Bell. And having just read this article, I can confirm this is one of my favorite pranks that has ever been pulled in real.
So imagine you go to bed one night and it's March and you're thinking, man, I love March, best month of the year, and then you wake up the next morning and all of a sudden it's April and you're like, darn it. But see, huge drama with that in particular, because when it becomes April,
the way that you tell stories, you like haven't even gotten to the first sentence of the story basically, and we're like 6 lines in. I love it. No,
hey, okay, I'm just
that
saying,
was not a critique. That was a compliment.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's part of the lore here. Okay, this will happen to you
I'm
too. This will happen in just a couple months. It's gonna happen. You're gonna wake up and you're gonna be like, man, is it March? And then you're gonna look at your calendar and be like, oh, it
It's
ain't.
April.
Okay, I see what's going on here. And when you do, that's April Fool's right there. Okay, and people do some funny stuff. Okay,
yeah, and you don't always realize it's April Fool's. You know,
that's like the day of trolling right there.
As a child, April 1st was the Super Bowl, basically.
Yeah,
but as an adult, sometimes it's just another day, and you don't look twice.
1996, Taco Bell. They decide, you know what? We got to prank some people. Okay, we gonna be the fool this year. Okay, and so that's what they do, and they basically managed to. I don't even know how they pulled it off. They got a full page ad in 6 major newspapers around the U.S. So got the Philadelphia Inquirer, New York Times, Washington Post, the Chicago Tribune, Dallas Morning News, and USA Today. So full page ad in this newspaper announcing that they had bought the Liberty Bell, okay, the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia, to reduce the country's debt. Okay, so to fix the national debt, they purchased the Liberty Bell and renamed it the Taco Liberty Bell. Okay,
which is this is like rage baiting in 1996.
Yeah,
because
absolutely brilliant, dude.
To think that Taco Bell could sell, they could liquefy all of their assets. Is that how you say it? Liquidize? They could sell everything, and it wouldn't put a dent in the national debt.
It sure wouldn't fix it today, that's for sure. And they didn't really provide like a cost for how much they purchased it for. It looks like they just said, yeah, we got it. All right, that thing, it's ours now. Let's go. But it's not a very like flashy ad or anything. It's kind of somber. It looks like
it was the 90s.
Yeah. Paper. Oh, but then the Taco Bell logo, the bell has a crack in it now.
Yeah, which is pretty sick.
Oh, and the Taco Bell logo?
Yeah, at the bottom of the ad.
That's a good catch. Yeah, that's a nice detail. Whoever was on the marketing for that, was pretty good.
Somebody cooked, okay.
In an effort to help the national debt, Taco Bell is pleased to announce that we have agreed to purchase the Liberty Bell, which implies that, like, the government contacted them, and they were like, yeah, we agree.
Yeah.
It will now be called the Taco Liberty Bell and will still be accessible to the American public for viewing. While some may find it controversial, we hope our move will prompt other corporations to take similar actions to do their part to reduce the country's debt.
Turns out the agency that actually carried out this ultimate super prank, it costed them $300,000 to pull off to get all that, which is a lot of money. But, putting full page ads in 6 different newspapers is going to do that to you. However, it generated an estimated 25 million clams. Okay.
Wow.
Just in free publicity. Okay. Sales increased, exceeding $1 million for the first 2 days of April.
Oh, man.
Very successful for Taco Bell. This was a big deal.
Wow. So it really worked for them. I kind of thought it was just to be funny, but I feel like we've kind of skimmed over this fact. People were really up in arms about this. People went insane. I guess the office was like flooded with calls, and there were even a couple of like government people that called and were like, "Hey, what is this? We didn't sell you the Liberty Bell, did we? Did somebody do that?" Which is part of the reason why it was such a successful move for them. from a business standpoint, because now everybody's talking about Taco Bell and this massive prank.
And it's so outlandish and stupid. But as far as dumb things that people have done, like, it's not really that far out as far as
Yeah.
that actually, like, it's something that I could feasibly see happening in the real world.
After the Taco Liberty Bell thing got published, I don't know if this was the same day or if it was a day later, but White House press secretary Mike McCurry said that the government was going to sell the Lincoln Memorial to Ford Motor Company and rename it to the Lincoln Mercury Memorial.
Dude, okay. To be fair, that's pretty tough. Okay.
That's pretty funny.
I guess we missed that. Yeah. That's brilliant.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Actually, we got to talk about that. What monument is going to get bought next if this really happens? Like the Taco Bell buys Liberty Bell. What's the next monument to
Washington Monument, send it to Walmart. Okay. I think they can I think they can bag it. All right. They can afford it.
I think Bass Pro Shops should buy the actual pyramids of Giza.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that KFC could buy the St. Louis Arch and then hang this massive banner from it of just Colonel Sanders' face. It's just like the biggest billboard ever.
Even better, McDonald's should buy the arch and then just build a second one
That
right
would be
next to it.
sick. Dude, that would be
painted
that would
yellow.
actually be
if
a
they did
much
that.
better. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a much better idea. No, Kentucky Fried Chicken should just buy Kentucky, actually.
Yeah, I
That's
was gonna
their
say,
monument.
if they're gonna buy anything, like, why don't they just get Kentucky, bro? Like, give them the whole state.
How funny would it be if April 2nd, KFC bought out the front page of 6 newspapers and said, "We're pleased to announce that to do our part in reducing the national debt, we have purchased Kentucky.
We did it. The state is ours.
The state is ours."
Man.
So, by the way, I did just Google like a few minutes ago. It's just been on like another tab why Taco Bell is called Taco Bell because it is a weird name. Apparently, it was founded by a guy named Glenn Bell, and he decided to like put his name in there, kind of like
Oh,
Walmart.
cool.
Like it's
was
kind
he
of
by any chance Alexander Graham Bell's like sibling or something? Were they related?
actually that's a good question. I
'Cause,
don't know.
Like, I always kind of assumed that Alexander Graham Bell had like a brother named Taco.
Don't forget about his cousin, Alexander Graham Cracker. He went on to
Yeah.
invent some pretty cool stuff as well.
So it looks like no, they are not.
Ah, man. Okay.
Unfortunately, Glenn Bell died in 2010.
This is so good. Larry in our Discord is freaking out because like 10 minutes ago, they just spitballed that Bell was the last name of the founder. And then when you read that, they were like, I was right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Oh,
didn't. I
gotta
actually
read
was not
the-
on there because I was on the Wikipedia page. And
Yeah, I
not
was too busy looking at the chat here.
Larry, I'm gonna give that to you. So Larry
Fair
commented on the
enough.
chat. Larry found out before I did.
Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of the Deep Lore Boys podcast. And genuinely, thank you. We like you. We don't want you to just be a number on a screen or a random like. We would love to actually have you be a part of the community, which is why we've got a Discord for our listeners linked in the description of all our episodes. Hop on, it's a ton of fun. We send memes, we discuss lore. Again, that Discord is linked in the description of our episodes. It's on our YouTube channel. It's easy to find, and we look forward to having you. All right, here's the rest of the episode.
So we've discussed a certain chicken without a head before, but it would seem that Andy is the kind of the opposite, the antithesis of Mike. Everybody's favorite headless chicken. It's a goose without feet. Although it seemed that this goose, he didn't lose his feet. He hatched without feet. He just didn't have any.
Yeah, Mike the Headless Chicken didn't hatch without a head.
Aw.
He lost
He's
it.
perfect. So he was just born with no feet, and so he was given little tiny baby shoes to walk around in.
Yeah, he didn't have feet, but he
Aw.
did have kicks. I'll put up a
Yeah.
picture of Andy the Goose. This is the most styling goose you've ever
Yeah,
seen.
like-
Yeah, he is vibing.
What are those?
I love this, actually. I am in love with this man's style.
So Gene Fleming was a guy who was an inventor and a member of a local charity for disabled children. This was back in the 80s, by the way, late 80s. And he learned about Andy and thought he could help, he took care of Andy and his mate Polly and moved them to his farm and made him a pair of shoes. Fleming's granddaughter Jessica named the goose Andy after a girl whom she got into a fight with in junior high school. So I don't know if maybe Andy had like a bad temperament as a goose. I don't know.
Did Andy have like the drip though? Like what? I feel like this is almost a compliment for like Andy here.
Hey, I don't know. Regardless, what I do know is that this goose has kicks on and he looks fresh. Okay.
I forgot about this. Initially, Andy was given like a skateboard, and that didn't really work.
If he pulled up on a skateboard, that would go crazy, actually.
Goose on a board. But yeah, so he successfully fitted Andy with these specialty shoes and taught Andy to walk with them. And it caught the attention of Nike, actually, who offered a lifetime deal of shoes to Andy.
Yeah, because apparently he was going through a pair of shoes a month. He really just had no interest in taking
Man,
good
he
care
was
of
getting
them.
him dirty.
I mean, he is a bird, so.
You know, I don't know. As a kid, my shoes got ruined, like, I feel like every, like, couple months. As an adult, I can go, like, a year, like, over a year without, like, needing to replace my shoes. Like, they just...
I don't know that I've bought a pair of shoes only a handful of times. I wear them until they're, like, falling apart. I still have one with blood stains on them from a deer that I shot with my wife's family, and I still wear them to the gym. I think that the blood is, it's war paint.
Yeah, it's just kind of there for style at this point.
Trigger warning, I guess, for any deer listening.
You know, have I ever told this podcast about the time I walked the streets of Chicago with blood on my fingertips?
Yes, you opened an episode that way once.
I think we've heard the tale. In fact, I was there when that happened.
What was how did that happen again?
I had a nosebleed.
Yeah, that was about it.
Okay.
That was it.
I just remember you opened the episode by saying, I walked the streets of Chicago with blood on my fingertips.
It was a day. It was a thing that happened. It was a time to be alive. Shout out Chicago, actually. Anyway, back to Andy the Goose. He died.
Yeah, okay. This is where the story takes a crazy
turn.
This is
really making me mad. Someone killed him. I don't understand. He disappeared and was found in a local park the next day. I won't describe exactly what happened because of how cruel and unnecessary it is, but he was dead.
And in a manner that suggested that he had been intentionally killed.
Yes.
It wasn't like he had a heart attack. Somebody hit him with the death note, you know.
Like
He was killed.
This was very much intentional.
So, but they said they found the guy who killed him, is what I'm seeing here.
No, it says that...
they offered a reward. They put a bounty on the killer's head, $10,000, equivalent to $23,000 in 2024.
Okay, I'm going to be honest here. I think I have two suspects, and I'm not just here to throw around blame, but it's either the girl named Andy, or it's the same idiots that beat up the hitchbot.
Or Ted Cruz.
Okay, the third option.
Actually, I've never heard that theory proposed, that the original Andy that Andy was named after came back and killed the goose.
So, okay, they did identify the killer, but they did not reveal the killer's identity to the public, seeing as apparently the person was not responsible. For whatever reason, basically they're saying this person did do what they did, but they shouldn't be charged for it because they are in a state of mind that they just can't make a reasonable decision otherwise.
All right, new suspect, any politician.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Does that mean that they were just like a child and like they couldn't be held accountable?
That is entirely possible, but I don't know if it's a kid doing that. That kid should definitely be investigated. I think it's just, from what I'm seeing, it just says their identity was not revealed to the public as they were somebody that was not responsible.
It can be because of mental impairment.
Yeah. Maybe it's like they were literally mentally ill.
Actually, I found more about it here. About 2 years after the incident, someone from the sheriff's department figured it out, and they said, we found out who did it. We can't tell you, and we don't want to have any news release about it. The department told him that Andy's killer was somebody that was not responsible, suggesting they were perhaps mentally disabled or otherwise not in control of their actions.
I'm thinking they were mind controlled. That's
Lizard
my theory
people?
here.
Mind
Yeah,
control?
somebody was mind controlling somebody and made them kill this goose.
Can we think of anyone who would have it out for a goose wearing shoes? Fleming's granddaughter, Jessica, named Andy after a girl named Andrea, who she'd just been fighting with in junior high school. I don't know if that means like physically fighting. Could it have been her, do you think? This Andrea? I mean, that's maybe a long shot.
Maybe
Nah, I think that's
it
a long
could, but
shot.
I
I
don't.
think
I
unless
mean,
we have actual like evidence to even throw around here, I wouldn't
no.
even say that. I mean, I was
No.
joking.
No, that's
but
what I'm
nah.
saying. No, there's no reason.
Yeah, and you know what, too? The family, like, they really looked into the killer of Andy. I feel like if she was a genuinely, like, unstable person, like, that would have been one of their first go-to.
Yeah.
And according to the family, they were not able to find a lead. And it was years later that the sheriff's department actually figured it out.
I guess we'll never know.
Justice
Unfortunately,
for
this is
Andy
kind of an
Goose,
end.
though.
Yeah, honestly, did not deserve this at all.
You know, I feel like the words "nice goose" are almost an oxymoron, though.
He might have been the only one. He became a role model for disabled children, especially. He was able to walk, swim, and fly with his shoes, and his owners hoped that Andy's mobility would give hope to people with disabilities, which just makes his killing even
Yeah.
worse. Like,
Completely
ugh.
unnecessary.
So, who actually lived longer, Mike or Andy?
Oh, that's a good question. Mike lived 23 months, and the goose lived 3 to 4 years, I think it said. So Andy lived longer, which shouldn't be surprising. I mean, he was born without feet, and Mike abruptly lost his head. So,
Yeah.
but Mike might have gone farther if he hadn't choked on that corn kernel. I want to talk about Japanese holdouts.
Is this like Chinese finger trap?
Yeah. Okay. No. I know what this is. Yeah. These people are crazy. Okay.
They are crazy. This is dedication. This is some Goggins level determination.
The Goggins level determination, bro.
So back during World War II, there's lots of Japanese soldiers being posted on these islands that no one's ever heard of, on these islands in the Pacific Ocean, where there's like very few people, and also not many ways to communicate with them. So they get stationed there, and Japan surrenders on the 2nd of September, 1945, after, the incidents where we dropped 2 nuclear bombs on their populated city. However, the Japanese soldiers on these islands were so convinced that the reports of the war being over was like propaganda, it was like bait, that they were like, nuh-uh, I'm not leaving my post. I'm sticking it out. I'm not falling for that crap. And for years stayed there. Like, some of these guys legitimately became old men on these islands, like lived
We're
out their
talking
lives there.
20, 30 years living on these islands. Some of them literally never returning.
It looks like a few of them, like, they found them in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like way after the war is over.
Is this really, I mean, obviously being stuck on an island by yourself is not going to be that great, but I also feel like...
Well, this guy was in the Philippines.
Just being stuck on an island away from society doesn't always sound like a bad thing either.
Well, it's not just that they were stuck. They had opportunity to return. So a lot of these guys, like, soldiers would come to them and be like, hey, bro, it's been 10 years. The war is over. And they were like, no, we would never be defeated in war.
Yeah.
And they like refused to leave because they could not even fathom that the war was over. That may not be true for all of them, but for some.
For a lot of people, especially in World War II, and especially in Japan, the kind of toll that took on people made it so that readjusting to society anyway was already extremely difficult for a lot of people. And so I think that in some cases, they probably just found it easier to stay where they were and just not bother. When you combine that with a culture that does not accept defeat, like under any circumstances ever, and cannot accept that, then I mean, I can see how that happens. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
Not all of them were just like, oh, by the way, I won't fall for that propaganda. Like, some of them were violent. Apparently one of them was killed in a shootout with Filipino soldiers, like 10 years after the war ended, because he wouldn't surrender.
Hiru Unoda. I hope I'm not pronouncing that too badly, but he has his own Wikipedia.
We have a track record for pronouncing things wrong.
Yeah, so let's just stop apologizing.
I think it's,
so Hiru was positioned on Lubang Island in the Japanese-occupied Philippines on the 26th of December in 1944. So he and his guys are doing guerrilla warfare operations there. They're showing up. They're shooting people on the island. They're moving. So after a short period, a few of his guys are killed, and it's just Hiru and 3 of his men. And they run into the mountains. And so they're there, they're doing their thing, guerrilla tactics, they're surviving on bananas, coconuts, stolen rice, and cattle. and on several occasions engaging in shootouts with locals and police. They successfully evaded American and Filipino search parties and attacked villagers that they believed to be enemy guerrillas, killing up to 30 civilians on the island. So these are not
So he's a major
necessarily
problem. Yeah,
yeah, kind of a problem.
yeah.
These are not necessarily hero figures. They encounter a leaflet announcing that Japan had surrendered in October of 1945. So almost a year they've been on the island doing this, surviving off the land. And then a separate group of Japanese holdouts showed up and were like, yeah, guys, the war is over. Like, come down from the mountains. And they just refused. They studied the pamphlets and were like, this is propaganda. We're not coming off the mountain. We're going to stay here. February 1952. So this is now 7 years later. They airdrop them pictures of their families, newsletters, as much proof as they can that hey, look, the war is over. Your families miss you. And the group was like, no, this is a trick. We can't do that.
Crazy, dude. What gets you to this point?
It's just years upon years of brainwashing, I think.
The Japanese military at this time was so extremely rigorous and strict, and they were so convinced that they could not be defeated. I guess you could call that brainwashing in its own right.
These people were not that far from Japan. I feel like you have to realize that 10, 15 years after the war is done, if there's still U.S. troops this close to Japan, clearly they're not doing too hot.
Well, you've also got to wonder, are you afraid that Japan has lost and that it's the enemy sending you these letters and being like, come home, come back, it's
I
safe
think that's
now.
probably a part of it as well. I think that there's definitely a sense of fear there. I'm sure that was something they were thinking. And that's a valid concern.
It looks like Haru Onoda, his former commanding officer, had to basically relieve him of duty officially.
Did they not try that sooner?
We've got to get to that because that's the climactic ending. There's
okay.
a little bit more that happened to him before then, which is kind of, I think, worth mentioning. Hiru, our protagonist here, his two friends are killed. One is killed in a shootout with the Philippine Army mountain unit, and they're not looking for them. They just accidentally stumble upon them here.
Yeah.
His other friend is killed in a shootout with local police after they burned piles of rice harvested by villagers. And then Hiru is alone from that point on. In February 1974, so he has now been here for the better part of 20 years. There is a Japanese adventurer named Norio Suzuki, and he's traveling around the world. He tells his friends he's looking for Lieutenant Onoda, a panda, and the abominable snowman in that order.
Okay.
He does find Onoda first.
Hey,
he pulls that off. He becomes friends with him, but Hiru still refuses to surrender. But he says that he will do it if he gets orders from his commanding officer. And so, they contact his commanding officer, Major Yoshimi Taniguchi, and he literally has to fly in to be physically there and relieve him from duty. Hiru will not have it any other way.
Honestly, they're lucky that his commanding officer was still alive at this point.
Yeah.
I'm really glad he was.
Also, Japan didn't have a military the first decade after the war, meaning that the commanding officer was not still a ranking individual in their military.
No.
Maybe in 1972, maybe he returned to the military, but he was not.
He was just a guy who had been retired for 30 years and had to come back out.
Yeah, I think that was exactly what this is.
Hiru Onoda held out for 28 years, 6 months, and 8 days after Japan's surrender in 1945. It's funny, when he came back, he turned over his sword, a functioning Type 99 Arisaka rifle, 500 rounds of ammo, several hand grenades, and a dagger that his mother had given him in 1944 to kill himself if captured.
Oh, dude.
So, no surrender. There is only one guy who held out longer than Hiru. His name was Taro Nakamura.
29 years and 107 days, apparently.
Man.
To 1974.
3 decades, bro.
Have you guys clicked on the Norio Suzuki article yet?
Yeah, I was looking at him too. Guy? Really interesting character here.
He said that he left Japan in 1972 because he said that it was everything in Japan felt fake. And he decided to go to Asia, the Middle East, and Africa and looked for what he said earlier. He was looking for Onada, a panda, and a Yeti. and he found Onata, which, by the way, people thought that he was dead at this point. Like, so this guy was not just some like random, like, oh yeah, I've heard about this guy here, I've seen pictures of him. Like, people thought he was dead, and he ended up finding him and was like, no, this guy's still alive. Then he did go to China, and he did see a panda. And then he spent the rest of his life searching for an abominable snowman. Now, this is what this starts to get weird here. He claims that he saw one from a distance. I don't know if that's real or not. Maybe it could have just been like a snow leopard or whatever. And then he continued to spend the rest of his life searching for a Yeti and died in, I believe, 1984? 1986.
It looks like.
In an avalanche looking for the Yeti.
Oh,
dude.
Wow, and his remains were discovered a year later, so that's rough. I thought he was just a little side character here, like, oh, haha, little explorer. He'd look for...
No, I think this is the main character.
And he's like the main character. He dies
this guy
doing what he loves.
Really, I wish there was more information on this dude. I feel like there's not a lot of people like this guy here. Like, he just sets up his own little like quest points here, and he hits them all. Like, I don't know that I would necessarily choose a Yeti as one of mine.
You're more of a Megalodon kind of fella.
Yeah, I'd pick a Megalodon. I think that's more, more feasible.
Of all of the cryptids that I'm like, this could actually probably be real.
Oh, Yetis are easily.
The Yeti is, I think, the most likely of all of them to be real.
Yeah.
Hey again, it's Jesse. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Deep Lore Boys podcast. If you did, leave a like, leave a review, subscribe for more episodes, share it with a friend, you know the stuff. Thanks for listening, and I hope your day is nothing short of interesting. Take care.
I'm going to go post that one on twitter.com.